Hey everyone, D here, and today we're going to be talking about the new AMC series Fear the Walking Dead, the hugely anticipated spin-off of the massive cable hit The Walking Dead by Robert Kirkman. Now, The Walking Dead takes place in Georgia and begins 4 or 5 weeks into the zombie apocalypse. Fear the Walking Dead takes place in the early days of the apocalypse, at the very beginning of the outbreak, and it does so in the giant urban sprawl that is Los Angeles, my hometown. So I'm personally very excited to see how they're going to illustrate the breakdown of society and conventions and just the sort of implosion of everyone within the giant cityscape that is LA. Warning! Spoilers ahead! It's a review, folks. We're going to be talking about what happened. Now, the series is actually probably going to start with a really nice slow burn. They don't reveal too much too fast, but they do kick things off with a nice big hit. The apocalypse is starting. The zombie plague has already spread. Walkers are starting to show up, but nobody really sees them. It's all in the background. It is all very quiet. So they do a great sense of building sort of a sense of dread throughout the episode. In fact, they give it kind of there's sort of a Hitchcock feel to it, in the sense that we know what's going on. We know that the zombies are coming. We know that the apocalypse is coming, but the characters in the show do not. So with every shot, we're expecting a walker to pop out in an instant. And they do that really good in the opening sequence where Nick wakes up inside the church, which is being used as a heroin den. Nick Clark, played by Frank Delane, is the son of Kim Dickens' character, Madison, and brother of Alicia, played by Alicia Debnam Carey. And Nick is probably going to be the huge breakout star of this series. He is amazing to watch. He really carries every scene that he is in. And in the opening sequence, like I said, we know what's coming, so there's already that sense of dread. And even in the first shot, we know that there is trouble. The minute he wakes up in this quiet, dark place, we are expecting bad things to happen. And they do. That is the first encounter with a walker that he has. Scares the bejeebas out of him, as it properly should. He's also coming down off of his high, so there's sort of an extra element added on to his reaction. But he does a smart thing. He takes off running. He gets out of there, which unfortunately leads him to the street and a car accident, which sends him right to the hospital. This is a nice mirroring of Rick Grimes' opening sequence. In the beginning of Walking Dead, Rick is shot, and that's what puts him in a coma for the 4 or 5 weeks until he wakes up and the show begins in proper. With here, of course, Nick wakes up just a few hours later. His family has come in. They're worried. They want to know what's going on. But he doesn't really know. He can't really relate what it is that has happened. And there's a nice kind of bonding sequence between Cliff Curtis's character, Travis Monroe, the kind of new stepfather of the family, and Nick, where Nick is trying to relate what it is that he has seen, acknowledging the unreality of it, but knowing that it is still something that he has caught. And his concern, of course, is it the drugs? Or is this something that has actually come out of his own mind? Is this something that he has created, which sets him off in kind of a mission to find out what the truth is? In fact, that sort of sets everyone off. Travis goes back to the church to try and see what's going on, bringing Kim Dickens' character, Madison, with him, because, of course, she's worried about her son. They do find that there is something that happened. There's a lot of blood, but of course, all of the bodies are gone. And they do a really good job also in that of building that sort of sense of background dread. That something is going on that nobody is quite aware of. The school buses at the school where both Kim Dickens and Cliff Curtis's character work are showing up with less and less students. There is some flu or sickness going on. There is a park that they drive by sort of regularly throughout the episode, and it is slowly decreased in population. The first shot there, people playing and walking around, and the next shot there's less people, and the next shot there's less people. There are missing posters that are starting to pop up on the walls. One of the last shots you see is just a completely then empty park with a lone, shambling, solitary figure moving through the shadows. So it does a really good job of setting up that there is something going on, but nobody is really aware of it. Nobody except the nerds, that is. The character Tobias, one of the great sequences in the very beginning, he is sort of the school nerd. You can tell completely how they present the character. But he attempts to come to the school carrying a knife. Kim Dickens' character Madison pulls him aside, begins a conversation. Hey, what's wrong with you? This is, you're a good student. This could get you into trouble. And he finally breaks out that there's something going on, that it is all connected. They don't know if it's a virus or a microbe, but it's happening in 5 states and people are dying. So kind of a fun little bit, personally seeing it, the nerds are the first to realize that there's something going on. They really carry this throughout the episode, and the big kind of reveal sequence. Well, there's 2 big reveal sequences, really. There's there's sort of a traffic jam gunfight that happens on a freeway overpass, which Travis and Madison both kind of encounter and get away from. They watch the news footage afterwards, all shot from above, from the news cameras, from the news helicopters, which kind of gives a great distant shot without seeing specifically really what's going on. And that's basically accident, people are injured, and suddenly they get up and start attacking the people around them. They're pushed off, they can't get away, they're finally shot at, they get up and they keep moving, which reveals one of my favorite lines in the opening sequence when Alicia, the daughter, is with her friends looking at the news footage on their phones. Now, Alicia recommends that this can't be real. Her friend's response, "This is the new real," as they shoot him in the head, and her response, "Kill shot, bitch." This is the foreshadowing of what is to come. And the fact that the kids see this before the adults makes sense. They're much more accepting of new realities, of new changes, than the adults, who are usually caught up in the old world and how things have been, what reality is supposed to be. This all, of course, comes to a head at the very end sequence. Nick has escaped the hospital. He is trying to track down his drug dealer to see if there was something in the drugs or if it was him. His drug dealer, who is trying to stay low-key, does not appreciate the attention that's brought to him, attempts to kill Nick, and Nick, of course, turns around and in the struggle, shoots and kills his drug dealer friend. This finally gets him to reconnect with his parents, who come down to see what has happened, and the body is gone. So, of course, they don't know what's going on. They get in the truck to leave, but there is the shambling corpse of the drug dealer that is coming after them. They get out to speak with him because they're worried, concerned that he might be hurt. Are you okay? He attacks, they push off, and Nick, sort of in accepting the reality that what has happened, that it's not a vision, that it's not the drugs, throws the truck into gear and runs him over. And then he gets back up, so Nick has to run him over again. And even after that, damaged, the head of the corpse is still turning and looking at them and trying to move. The body, of course, has been broken and isn't usable. And that's sort of where the episode ends, is the reality that something is going on. They don't know what it is, but it is undeniable now. And this is where we leave the pilot episode, doing a great job of setting up the characters, setting up the background, and setting up the fact that the apocalypse is on them. Really looking forward to the new rest of the series. I wanted to see how they do this. I'm hoping for a bit more of a slow burn, that they don't jump too heavily into it. But they do only have like 6 episodes, if I remember correctly. So it's not going to take too long for all this to really come to a head and for society to crumble before our eyes. I'm going to catch every episode. I'm going to relate them on to you. I hope that you enjoy my review. Please feel free to comment in the sections below. Hit subscribe if you like it, and we will see you next week. Take it easy, y'all.